Before I start this, let me just say I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so if I'm coughing and sniffling, I apologize in advance, but I'll try not to let that affect this. So, does everybody have a handout, first of all?
Yeah.
So, basically, what I decided for my research project was to look at, after reading Wolf's Beauty Myth, I kind of thought to myself, well, there's probably an equivalent for men. Maybe it's different. I don't know. I haven't looked into that. But I decided to see if there was something I could glean from looking at whether there is something related in the male perspective, because in the beauty myth, she talks about women, but men have appearances too, men have feelings too, media affects men and all that too. So I didn't think it was going to be the same at all, because obviously, it's a different gender. But I decided to look into it, see what I could find. And the first thing I noticed is that most of the research that I found on beauty and on the media was always directed towards women, which is what I kind of suspected. I expected to find. So I decided to approach this research by going to the magazine advertisements, because I know that that's a big source of male image, because most of the time on television we see a female image being commodified. But if you go strictly to men's magazines, it's not so much the case anymore. You can concentrate on men. And also, I didn't want to focus just solely on the body, because I felt like the image that they portray in the magazine is more than just the body. There's also some hidden message behind everything that they show to the audience. So I wanted to look at all that, and I chose to look at skincare products, because skin is, it's the biggest organ. It's what we always show. From a distance, you always see someone's skin color, and when they come up close to look at their face, you examine their skin, their complexion, all that. It's really important to everybody. And there's so many different products that go onto your skin that's supposed to make you look better, feel better, and all those things. So my research question was, what messages do companies who sell skincare products portray in their magazine ads, and how do they use the features of men in their ads to convey this message? And I made this handout. Everybody hold on for a second, please. I indicated here that male insecurities is what I use here, because I felt like, yeah, I could say what about the male body they use, but I want to focus more on, like I said, also what more do men care about, because it's not just about how you look. That's how it's for everybody. And I didn't really I didn't really put this on the handout, but because it didn't fit. But well, it's mostly body issues that I found when I was doing my research. There's a strong sense and a strong undertone that there's more than just the physical part that they're advertising to men, which I'm going to go a little bit into depth later. But yeah, that's kind of like the summary of what I did in the front. It was mostly based on appearance and male body, and kind of conveying an image and imposing these guidelines. But it was more a sense, especially after I did my interviews, that it was more a sense of like, they make you feel in some form inadequate, because if that's how you want to buy more products, I guess. If you feel bad when you see this ad, you want to fix that feeling, obviously. So on the back, this is kind of what I found out about when I looked at the magazine ads, and I have some here to show you when I'm talking about the interviews. First of all, a lot of these things, these are what I saw in the ads, but this is also in the rest of the magazine. If I looked at the rest of it, and like the front covers and everything are very similar in what they show. I did 4 magazines actually. I didn't bring them all. Or I did. Please show them. I did Men's Health. Yeah, pass them out if you want. GQ, Gentlemen's Quarterly, Details magazine, and Men's Journal. These are 4 of the top-selling men's magazines, and they all kind of go towards different audiences. For example, Men's Health would go towards men who are looking more for a healthy body. GQ is more about fashion. Details is a little more general, more cultural, things like that. So they're all targeted at different audiences. So I felt like I got a broad spectrum of my research. And in general, what I said in the handout was that almost all the men they're pretty muscular, especially their upper bodies, and they focus on the upper body more than anything. They don't really focus much on the legs or whatever. I noticed that almost all, unless they're celebrities, almost all the men in there have square faces, and they all kind of have similar images that they're being portrayed here. But the main thing I got was when I did the interviews was that the men that I interviewed, and they were random men I just found on campus who I kind of found sitting, so they're all university students. They all looked at these ads, specifically this ad right here, which is I chose this because it's a kind of sexual position. Mm-hmm. There's an ad here that has no pictures of men actually, but it's targeted towards men, and it focuses on their confidence. And there's another one here that focuses more on just the face. And all three of them kind of evoke the same negative, not negative feelings, but the men all kind of agree that they all kind of agreed that these images were the ideal male, even though they didn't really know what the ideal was. They couldn't define it, which is similar to the video. But what I found most interesting was that the ads, the way they made them feel was more than just a physical thing. They felt like, oh, these men are in these locations, they're doing these activities, and they're exciting, they're fun, and I don't do those things. And more so than how I look, they cared about, wait, I'm not like that. This is not how I live my life. This isn't my lifestyle. And that's what was mainly conveyed to them, like, oh, this product is for men who are outdoorsy, and I kind of wish I was, because I don't, because I was in school, but I kind of wish I was, and that kind of appealed to them.
Okay.
So the main thing I found out of this was that while there is something similar in the sense that there's a beauty myth for men, it's very different. It's far more than physical. It's more of a lifestyle, kind of personality thing than a group.
Thank you.
One of the things that I liked was interesting is that you said it wasn't just a physical thing, it was kind of like where they are and what they're doing, and like, I mean, in that one ad, like on a boat, like in like some tropical place. Did anyone like find that alienating? Because like to me that sounds like they can't relate to that.
Well, I interviewed 10 men, and they didn't specifically say they kind of alienated, but they did. What they said about that ad in particular, and all like any ad because they kind of skimmed through the magazines too. I asked them to do that as well, but I focused on those three. What they did say with the locations was that a lot of those stuff that they wish they could do, they actually found it very positive, not negative. The images behind them, or like the location and all that stuff, they didn't find it alienating at all. And they said that because of these men are in these locations, it implied to them that these men are adventurous, exciting, interesting, all these things. So, who doesn't want to be that?
And the other thing I was curious about is that I looked at like with the exception of Men's Health, like all like the men on the front are like wearing clothes and like I in a sense like they're advertising and they're trying to get you to buy this magazine, like, but then in some of the other advertisements they're like, you mentioned that they place in here that they don't have a lot of body hair and like you can see their bodies more. Why do you think that is?
Well, also they focus a lot on the face. Upper body is important, but the face is very important. There's some ads that are just purely face, like it just neck up or even like chin up, like it's just face. So they want. I think part of it is because like for example these two, they're celebrities, and they want you to be like, oh, they're these celebrities, I recognize them. But also because they want that face because to them that square face for some reason is very important, and whenever a model has a particularly strong jaw, they always focus on it. But they don't always, but they tend to